Hey everyone, and welcome back to The Sprinkled Life. Today we are going to be doing some more recipe testing. This recipe comes from Delish, and it is sort of a redemption recipe because I recently made a lemon cookie recipe out of a recipe book, and it was a disastrous recipe. It would have been hilarious to film. I wish I had filmed it for you guys, but I followed the instructions step by step and they rolled off the pan like dice. They were hard as bricks, dry as can be. It was just the worst recipe you've ever seen in your life. So today is a bit of a redemption recipe. This recipe, as I mentioned, comes from Delish, and it is a lemon butter cookie recipe. One of my good friends posted this on her Facebook page, and I was so excited because I had been wanting to try another lemon cookie recipe for the holidays. So we're just gonna see if this is a disaster or if it turns out well. So pass or fail, we're gonna find out one way or the other. So I've got my instructions, and I'm gonna leave the Delish link down below. I actually had planned today's video to be a first impressions of HelloFresh. As I've mentioned before, I have a very long background with baking. I'm a really good baker and cake decorator, but I am not a very good cook. So my plan was to review HelloFresh, try out some new recipes, see if they could help me out. And your girl here did something really stupid, which was I took the packages out of the box and stuck them straight in the freezer, not even looking at anything. That is how much I'm not a cook. And I basically ruined some of the ingredients, so I had to go buy replacements. So that's just gonna get delayed until we get the next round of food. I don't have that problem with baking. Baking is more scientific in my opinion, less experimental. I do great with baking, but cooking's another story. So we're gonna stick with baking, and we're gonna do some testing and see if this recipe lives up to what Delish says about it. So lemon butter cookies, here we go. Okay, so first thing, in a medium bowl with flour, baking powder, and salt. So I'm already gonna kind of cheat. I'm going to sift my ingredients into my bowl here, and then I'm just gonna mix it up. 2 1/4 cups all-purpose flour. Next is 1 1/4 teaspoon of baking powder. 3 1/4 teaspoons of kosher salt. I don't have kosher salt, so Morton it is. That is it. Now we're gonna mix. Everyone meet Nova. She has decided she's really into this recipe, so you might hear her a little bit. Okay, so the next thing we're gonna do is, it says with a hand mixer, which I'm gonna be using my stand mixer here. I prefer to use a stand mixer in general. I just think it makes the job easier and also doesn't run my motor out nearly as quickly as a hand mixer. I'm gonna go ahead and use the bowl directly. It says we are going to beat the butter, which it calls for 10 tablespoons. So I'm just using the chart on the back of the actual stick of butter because that's not like your typical amount. It's not, you know, 1 or 2 sticks. It's very specific. So I'm gonna go ahead and take my softened butter and put that into the bowl. Next is an 8-ounce block of cream cheese, softened. Everyone, this is one of my 2 kitties, Nova. No, I would not recommend picking up your cat in the middle of baking, but she is freaking out right now. I think she thinks that if we eat, that means they're getting food soon, which isn't how it works. They're on a schedule. So this little one is losing her mind right now. Okay, so we found the first thing in this recipe that I'm like, specify people, specify. It says to, in a large bowl, beat the butter and cream cheese with sugar. Well, we have powdered sugar and we have granulated sugar. It does mention powdered sugar later, so by deductive reasoning skills, I'm gonna go with the granulated sugar, but specify. So sugar. So we are adding 1 1/4 cup, and I shorted this a little, so I'll probably add a little extra here at the end. All right, so we're going to beat all of this together. It says for about 2 minutes until it's nice, light, and fluffy. Hopefully this is the right sugar. Okay, so I have got this nice and light and fluffy, and I am going on to zesting my lemon, which, let me tell you, get started early because it's a pain in the absolute butt. So they say to finely grate it, but then the little shavings get stuck inside the grater. Maybe I need a different grater, but I'm having to like scrape it off from the inside with a spatula here. So yeah, have fun with that. Oh my God, how much of this? 2 teaspoons. 2 teaspoons, people. Have at it. Okay, well, that was fun. So now we are moving on. Now that this is light and fluffy, the next instructions say to beat in the eggs. So I have cracked 2 large eggs here. Lemon zest, which this is almost exactly 2 teaspoons. So I'm just gonna use the whole thing. Vanilla and food coloring. The food coloring is, I think, more optional. It's just to kind of give it a little kick of color. I actually have an egg yellow. I'm not gonna use too much of it. It says 10 drops, but since it's got a bit of an oranginess to it, I might like half that. I look at some of these things as more of a suggestion. So yeah. Okay, so we are adding in the 2 whole eggs, 2 large eggs. 2 teaspoons of finely grated, just wonderful lemon zest. Okay, here comes another thing I think is gonna be just super fun, is a 1/4 cup of lemon juice. I have said fresh lemon juice. I have this, but I do have this lemon that I already zested, so I don't have a juicer. I'm just gonna try to squeeze some of this in and see how much I get and maybe work with a combination of the 2. So, you know, again, just make your own rules, it's fine. All right, so as suspected, about half of this was filled up by that lemon, so the other half was the bottle version. I'm gonna put that in. All right, and last thing is 1 teaspoon of pure vanilla extract. And then we're gonna beat again. And I have said this before in, you know, the big 2 videos that I had, so I think on one of these for you guys, but always start low, especially when there's liquid and powder in your mixing bowl, because stuff tends to fly everywhere. So I'm gonna start beating this on low and then I'll pick it up as I go. Okay, so now that that liquid has mixed in at least a little bit, I will go ahead and add a few drops of the food coloring, and then we're back to mixing. All right, so we've got one more step before we have to let our batter sit. So it's this nice, pretty yellow color right now. It's actually the perfect yellow. I used Egg Yellow by Americolor Gel Paste, in case anybody's wondering, but it's this nice, bright, fun yellow. So now we're coming back to the dry ingredients that we set aside, and it says we are going to beat them in until just combined. So I guess as soon as I feel like it looks like something, I'm gonna stop. However, I'm gonna go ahead and first let me scrape the sides of the bowl down. It's just a good thing to get in the habit of doing because some stuff tends to get trapped up there. And then I am finding in a lot of this recipe testing that they just leave out the fact that you shouldn't just dump in all your dry ingredients at once. If you wanna have to go shower in the middle of baking, then that's totally fine. But if you'd like to avoid that, stick to like 1 cup or even less at a time so your ingredients don't go everywhere. All right guys, so I can tell you already that this recipe makes way more sense to me. It looks better, it smells better. That recipe I was telling you about that I tested, I was going through it, following it step by step and going, where are any like creamy or liquid ingredients? Because there was like nothing in it, which explains why they were so dry and horrible. So this is looking really nice. We are now supposed to cover it and let it sit for 2 hours to overnight. For the purpose of this video, I'm only gonna do the 2 hours so that we can see what this is like. And because I love lemon cookies, we're putting up the tree right now in between here, and that says holidays to me. So let's get some plastic wrap over it. I'm gonna stick it in the fridge and I will be back. Okay, so we have let the dough chill. It's been more than 2 hours, but it's still the same night, so I didn't leave it overnight. And let's see, we are to the exciting part. First, you're gonna preheat the oven to 325, so I just turned that on. And then it said to line a baking sheet with parchment paper, woohoo. So now that's good to go. And now we're gonna roll the dough. That is my cat. We just put the tree up and they're trying to attack it. So preheat oven, we're gonna roll the dough into 2-inch balls and then roll them into powdered sugar. Then you let them sit for 2 minutes until the sugar is absorbed and then re-roll in the powdered sugar. It says to not shake off the excess. Okay, so I'm just gonna actually roll it. I've got a plate of powdered sugar back here. I'm just taking them and trying to keep my hands relatively dry. And I'm sort of using the powder to allow me to form and roll because it's getting all over my hands while I do this. And that powdered sugar is helping me keep it off of me, sort of. Okay, so I've gone ahead and I've rolled out 12 different balls. I think that as I went along, my sizing got a little more consistent. My first couple were kind of off. So some of these might turn out better than others. I'm gonna leave them sit a minute, like it said, and let the powdered sugar absorb a little bit, and then I'm gonna roll them again. Okay, so now I'm gonna go back and start with the first one because it's been sitting about the 2 minutes it said. It said to re-roll now in the powdered sugar and not to shake off the excess. So let's follow the rules and put it on the baking sheet about 2 inches apart. All right, so this is what our fancy cookie experiment looks like as one tries to roll off the tray. And it says to bake at 325 for 18 to 20 minutes. Keep them 2 inches apart on the cookie sheet and to bake until the cookies crackle and are set but are still slightly soft in the center. So I'm gonna set a timer and come back and check, and we are gonna test these babies out. All right, guys, it's taste test time, and voila, these, if you can see, look way better than my first round with testing a lemon cookie recipe from Annie. You wanna explain how that went?
No, it was bad.
It was really bad. So these already look better. They look like the picture. They smell good. I hope they taste good because lemon cookies, if you guys have ever had the Maggiano's lemon cookies, those are like next level. Yeah. Like we'll go and do the like 2 for 1. Is that what it is? 2 for 1?
Buy one, get one.
Yeah, it's like the date, what am I trying to say? It's like the date. What am I trying to say?
I just told you what it is, the buy one, take one.
Yeah, but it's like, I'd like to order the date night combo. I don't know if it's a combo, I don't know. Anyway, it comes with dessert. And so you can like, you know, pick the most expensive thing or just chocolate cake or something. And when the lemon cookies are like $3 and we're always like, I'll have the lemon cookies. And they just kind of look at us and like, do you want like 2 orders? So we like lemon cookies. So, okay, gonna pick one up here. They're still warm. It did say to let them cool completely, but hello, I love warm cookies. So taste test.
Definitely better than your first attempt.
Yeah, well that wasn't my fault though.
Very lemony.
Mm.
We're gonna have to throw these away.
Because we're gonna eat them?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess I'll give my thoughts this time first. He's still eating. So those are dang good. Those are really dang good. They do taste a lot like the Maggiano's one. They're softer. They're one of the, you know, just the kind of cookies. Yeah, more like a cake cookie style. And they're not quite as sweet as the Maggiano's. And I think that's because they don't have the glaze on top. If you guys have ever had those, they have kind of like a lemon glaze, which would be amazing on these. But, so it's a little more subtle of a flavor, but they're really good. I really, really like these. Yeah, I'm in trouble. Finish chewing and then give me your thoughts. Putting it back on.
I already gave you my thoughts. They're good. Tastes like Maggiano's. You're very close to them. You're not allowed to make these anymore.
That sounds like a threat.
It might be. They're good.
I think we got the cook perfect on them too, because
they might almost be very, like, really good cold.
Yeah, I could see that. The very outside edge has a tiny bit of a crunch to it. I think they're really perfectly cooked, if I do say so myself. I left them in a couple minutes longer because I do think I rolled them a little bigger than the 2 inches, but they turned out really good. He's in for seconds.
Don't judge me.
I legally have that right. Yeah.
No way.
Do I need to get the paperwork? All right, so obviously it's a pass on the recipe. Out of 5 stars, what would you give it?
A solid 4.
I was gonna say 4.5.
No.
I wouldn't quite say 5. I think that glaze on those Maggiano's really adds like an extra, just icing on the cookie, basically. But
I think if they're a little thinner, it might be.
Yeah, I think I rolled them a little too big on some. Some are thinner than others, like this one's a little thinner.
They're kind of doughy in the middle.
Yeah, they're supposed to be. Is it softer in the middle? But they're cooked. They're not like actually doughy, but yeah, they're kind of like, they remind me of those cake cookies. Really, really good. I'm excited about this one. You guys have to try this. It was a really easy recipe to follow too. All right, guys, so this recipe was so good, so yum. Highly recommend, and a great recipe for the holidays. Super easy. I can't recommend it enough. This one's really good. Chat with me down below. Let me know if you guys love lemon recipes. I, in the last 5 years, have just come to love everything lemon dessert related. so much, and I had been looking for one like Maggiano's, and it's so similar. I absolutely love it. Thank you, Delish, for this awesome recipe. Guys, I hope you have a great rest of the holidays. Please let me know if you tried this recipe out and what you think about it. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, and I would love for you to consider hitting the subscribe button and turning those notification bells on so that you don't miss out on future lifestyle and baking content here on this channel. Have a great holiday season, guys, and I will see you next Saturday. Bye.